is so crazy to me. I sent a cold email after the Adam Robinson webinar. Someone from my second degree circle, who was also an angel, replied that he had seen the webinar somewhere and he asked Adam about our performance and reached out to us back on email. Like, it's a testament to how B2B buyers are working out, because he could have easily responded to me.
So, guys, welcome to yet another episode of FootSteps. And today we have a man who has been into this B2B SaaS space for little over 3 years. But the way he has been able to take over the industry in terms of the deliverability side of things, scaling the outbound function, looking after tons of data, CAC, different platforms, how they work, how they don't work, which is the most expensive platforms, channels to look at, converting landing pages and stuff like that. The content he has been putting out on LinkedIn has got him a massive following and a tons of inbound lead just going out from his content. So here we have Bharadwaj. Hi Bharadwaj, thanks for taking out the time. Lovely to be here. We have been in touch for quite a while and now formally shooting this podcast. Great way to spread all the knowledge that you have delivered from over the past, I think, couple of years over in LinkedIn, and now recording it live for all the folks out there. I'd love to have you put in a little bit of background about yourself as well.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, Siddhant. It's truly a pleasure being a part of this. And a bit about me and the work we've been doing. So I come from a very engineering background, didn't know shit about marketing or sales. We ended up shipping our first product on Product Hunt, and we thought it was going to give us a lot of inbound leads, and that was going to be our path to profitability. Spoiler alert, it was not. And being an engineering guy, I had to figure out, kind of speed run sales and marketing because we had not raised a ton of funds. And we were able to figure out the right low cost acquisition channels for SaaS, and get clients, like really amazing clients like Microsoft, Google, GitLab, and all these big tech giants, just using these shoestring marketing channels. And that opened doors for consulting. So right now, our primary focus is taking the learnings that we had, shipping our SaaS to all these global companies, especially in the tech space, and then using LinkedIn, email, and Google to essentially sell these SaaS products to people who come from different backgrounds. And right now we're doing a lot. So we work with pretty much a lot of pre-seed to Series C startups. We closed our first government contract this year. We're working with the government of Malaysia, which I think it's a huge achievement on a personal end. But yeah, it comes down to figuring out email deliverability, what you can do on LinkedIn and what you can do on Google. These three platforms kind of control how much you can do on your baby SaaS.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, working with a government as a whole itself isn't a big thing. And you mentioned this word shoestring marketing. So I'm hearing it for the first time, and I think a lot of other folks listening to or viewing this would be as well. So can you explain a little bit what is shoestring marketing and how does this actually work?
So here's what most people miss about, sales or marketing when they're building a product, especially founders that are doing it for the first time. Because the internet can connect you with pretty much anyone, we sort of think that there is no delivery cost, right? Like, if you run a physical product, you calculate the cost of the truck that delivers the physical product to your customer's door. But because we've been selling digital products, we often discount in our heads on the actual costs of delivery to these people online. And even if it's easily accessible on a one-on-one level, you kind of need to calculate that on a high level and figure out what you can transport at scale without breaking the bank. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So it's a concept of figuring out you need to reach 1,000 people. If you want to reach 100 people, you can do it for free on the same channels. But if you want to reach 1,000 people, you're going to have to start to pay for it. And how do you do that on a recurring basis without paying too much to these platforms? And that's how I bring in this word of shoestring budget, which is like, in which channels do you have the highest amount of leverage with the lowest amount of spend? So that's what I mean by that.
So what does your data say? Which channel has the highest amount of leverage with the lowest spend?
Okay, so if you are confident in your ability on converting website visitors, I would say it's still Google Ads for most people, because for most companies, the problem that they face is they are not sure whether or not there is a demand when you're doing outbound, right? When someone does a
Correct.
Google search, they already need a solution and they're coming to the website. Much easier to
Hmm.
sell to people who already have the pain point. Now, again, the big if
Correct.
there is who is your biggest competitor and how much are they spending on Google Ads? Because like it's not the same for everybody, right? You could be paying
Hmm.
$28 per meeting on Google Ads for a really new space that doesn't have a lot of VC backed competitors. But if someone goes ahead and raises 10 million, they're going to be inflating the cost per click to like $120. Now, if
Yeah,
you
for
are
sure.
running a Google ad for like $120, and every click that you get, if you're not converting them, you're losing money right away, right? So it's huge in that aspect. If you are not confident that, hey, I'm not confident that my tech stack is very great, I'm not sure about my messaging yet, then it's email. It's always going to be email. So on average, based on our calculations which I shared, it's about like you're going to be paying about like $38 to $40 on average without the labor cost for a meeting. So this is just pure transport delivery cost that you're going to be paying for the tools and the data. And it's also the data that we get. Like we have a lot of resellers who work with us. We have a lot of vendors that we've accumulated over these years. So we get the best prices. But if you're going to do it yourself,
Okay.
on average you're going to be paying about like $50 to $60 just on the platform cost, and then you have to hire a couple of sales reps or marketing reps who you're going to be paying like 2 to 3 lakhs if you're in India, like 5 lakhs plus if you're in the US. So that's
Yeah.
the cost. So Google Ads, cold email, can't go wrong with either of these.
Got it. A shameless plug here. If you are someone who is using Google Ads and wants a high converting landing page, check out VWO.
Right. You should actually. This is not just for plugging in as a promotion. That is actually true. Like it is very crucial that if you're paying so much dollar per click, you are losing money on the table if your website doesn't convert. And that's
Yep.
why you need tools like VWO. That's why you need tools like Clarity. That's why you need tools like Factors AI, where you can combine these things on your website and maximize how many clicks you're converting into sales meetings. That's kind of why you need tools like VWO. And VWO has been in the space for such a long time. They have the best A/B testing capabilities I've seen in any tool. So kudos to that.
Yep. Thank you. I'll convey that to the product team for sure. Awesome. So, Bharadwaj, I saw you did a podcast with Adam Robinson, and I think one of the notes from over there was Adam spends 75% of his time creating content, right? So what does that look like for you, first of all, and then how much should SDRs do it? Because your primary thing comes into converting marketing leads into sales. So how much should an average SDR, an SDR manager, account executive create content?
Got it. So again, like in the beginning, I spoke about two things, which is shoestring budgets and leverage, right? So let's say you are doing one-on-one emails. Like there are only four things you can do. You can either sell one-on-one, one-to-many, and then like many-to-one, many-to-many. Those are the four channels. Like
Correct.
so, LinkedIn, you're not going to be paying much for one-to-many, right? So in that case, what ends up happening is you have this channel where most of your ICP is already going to be active. And let's say you
Correct.
spend your time reaching out to 100 people who don't know about your brand. Whenever you're going outbound, there's a trust factor, right? It's like,
Yep.
I don't know this person came out of the blue, I don't know their software, I've not heard of their software, and they're trying to sell me something, which is usually very skeptical. I'm usually skeptical of those sort of people. But when they're coming in inbound, they sort of understand, they go through your profile, they go through your content, and they know that you're not actually just making this up. Because they say the social proof is attached to that post. And that's why
Correct.
this channel has been working out for so many people. I've been screaming this on the top of my lungs for 3 years. And the reason why the chemistry between me and Adam works out so well is that he put that plan into action. Right. By the time I got into consulting and doing this for other startups, my primary focus was not selling to mid market or like the tool primarily, but that guy had something to sell that was predominantly a product, and he proved that this formula could work because you're spending 0 rupees on actually posting the content, and the upside or like the up limit of how many people you could reach on a platform like LinkedIn is it's like maximum. You can reach all the
Yeah.
people who are using LinkedIn, right? And that's why it kind of works out. Now, talking about SDRs, people really need to understand that if you are already speaking with the prospect on other platforms, like the prospect already knows you, the cost of the brand is basically the conversion rate that you have on your outbound. So it's not like it's either inbound or it's either outbound. But let's say that Siddharth has already seen 5 of my LinkedIn posts and I want to reach out to him to sell specific software, then it increases my conversion rate. Like just like how VWO increases your conversion rate on the website, having a personal brand on LinkedIn increases your conversion rate on outbound. That is just the fact, right? And like even if you're doing outbound, you would not believe the amount of people who actually take email or outbound seriously to the point where they'll go onto your LinkedIn profile, they'll go onto your website, and they'll see all of this. People think that B2B buyers are very linear. They are not. They are super skeptical because they're getting hundreds of these messages every day and they want to do their research, right? Now, if I go onto your
Yeah.
LinkedIn, I see all the social proof, then I'm half convinced before I even get on the call. So having a personal brand is a factor of two things, which is you convert more of your outbound leads and you do half of the sales when you're sleeping because when they're coming onto the call, they're already sold. They're just waiting for a contract. So that's the thing.
So over here, just to double tap over here a little bit from a buyer's POV. What I think is obviously once you get to posting on LinkedIn, how does that convert into inbound leads as well? People reaching out to you, because I'm sure if I see your post, where you mentioned that you've been doing this is what you have found, something like from your experiences or something that new you discover. I like it. I probably would comment if I know you, or I'll just like it and just scroll down. What goes through the buyer's mind when he's seeing your posts, and at what point is he convinced that he should reach out to you and ask for some help? So how does that part happen? What's the mentality over there?
Got it. So I'm going to walk you through one of my most famous posts that got over 40,000 in organic impressions, that closed $23,000 in revenue for me in a span of just like 30 days. No SDRs, no VDRs, no marketing team, no ad spend. Maybe like $20 in ad spend, but I don't really consider that to be ad spend. $23,000 in closed revenue. Like it was $80,000 in pipeline, $23,000 in closed revenue. So these are the actual numbers. We have a case study that's published on website inboxpatsconsulting.com. If you scroll down, you'll see that on thought leadership ads. But predominantly, it was organic. Now, coming back to your question, I'm just giving the proof because people take it more seriously, and when you put a number value into these stories, people actually listen.
Obviously,
Right?
quantifying
So,
all of this obviously arises that pain point and that interest.
right, right. So it also, like, a huge asterisk to this that I would add is that it depends on the content that you're posting, right? Like, are you
Okay.
optimizing for followers or are you optimizing for pipeline? It's a huge difference I would kind of make, right? So you have these service
Okay.
providers who have low ticket offers like selling an ebook, selling a course, and all these different things. Their whole game is to get you into a newsletter, get you into an ebook, and kind of upsell you on top of that. They have a coaching offer, they have a consulting offer. That is not what I'm talking about. So those sort of people optimize
Hmm.
for followers. It's just about the number of followers that you get. For
Yeah.
that, you can post any sort of content. And what's going on through the buyer's perspective is this person might know something about the industry that I'm in. Sure, I'll give you my email. Sure, I'll give you my phone number. That's all he's thinking. Now, if you look at the content that we post and the content that I was specifically referring to, it starts out with a very powerful hook which says that if I was hired to be a CRO of your company and take it to $1 million in ARR as soon as possible, here are all the things that I would do, right? And the only thing I want, and this is all very engineered, and the only thing I want these people to think is, wow, this guy has done it for another business and I want to copy paste that for my business. That's what's going on in these CEOs because I know how to talk to them. Again, it takes a lot of iterations to get to that point where you know the misconceptions that happen to them. So the bigger lesson from this is you need to talk to people in your ICP first through all these different channels and know how they sort of think. What is their biggest pain point?
Hmm.
what makes them not sleep at night, and then start out your post with how you would actually fix their problems, right? Because a lot of these people, they want predictability in their pipeline, and they want to go to their sleep knowing where their next paycheck is coming from, which is what I'm solving for them, which is a huge pain point for a lot of these people in the pre-seed to series C stages.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on the buyer side, which is I have this problem, and this guy has solved it for someone else. And by reading his content, it seems like I could solve this too. Because you are clarifying misconceptions on a high level. Like this guy might think that cold email does not work, or LinkedIn ads does not work, or Google ads does not work. But you have to also clarify by saying that, hey, you're actually just sending 100 emails. We fucking send 14,000 emails every single day. So obviously we're going to do better, right? You were spending $28 on Google ads, and this is the biggest thing I think most mistake that most B2B buyers make, at least in the C-suite level. If I send 2,000 emails to get one lead, which is a very bad conversion ratio, but I'm just saying that if I'm sending 2,000 emails to get one lead, people think that okay, if I send 1,000 emails, then I should get half a lead. It does not work that way. It is just a sample size thing. Like you have to have volume in either of any of these marketing channels. You cannot measure them in percentages. Like that's the biggest takeaway, which is you can only measure them in multiples of thousands, not hundreds. Right?
Hmm.
That is the first mistake that they make. So the only thing I want them to think is A, I have done it for someone else, and B, I point out their mistakes that they have done in the past and why that channel could have not worked out for them. So these two things make them think that okay, this guy can solve this problem of pipeline for me, and that's what's going on in their head.
Hmm. So it is essentially, everybody, every C-suite member, when you say from pre-seed to Series C, is everybody struggling for revenue. So if you are selling something that helps them generate more revenue, convert more revenue from the existing leads, you can target that particular pain point, lead by social proof, saying that this is what we did and these are the exact steps that we took for them in terms of getting them to their goal, and this is how I got them X amount of revenue within this amount, Y amount of ad spend. So that would trigger an emotion that first of all, I think one thing that comes to my mind is I'm missing out on it. The fear of missing out, the FOMO kicks in. Oh damn, he's doing something really cool that I also want to do, but I don't know how to do it.
And one more thing that's important about it is you have to be willing to share the numbers, right? If you don't share the
Yeah.
numbers, nobody's going to trust you. And even you can see that as a theme whenever I talk, which is what qualifies me to give this advice. Because like all these people I
You are a
work with,
rando. You are
right?
a rando coming onto my feed.
Even if I know you, so for example, let's take this relationship. You've probably been more years in sales than I have because I come from an engineering background. But I have the proof to say that, hey, I've worked with these big logos, I've generated this much amount of pipeline, I have the screenshots on my website, and that's why you should
Yeah.
give me a chance to listen to me. And I think that kind of changes the game, like why should I listen to you when there are like 50 people claiming to do the exact same things? Right?
Yeah.
That's also something to solve.
Yeah, I think the transparency over here just magnifies the effect of what you are trying to say. Like it adds a lot of weight to your thing. Got it. So I think this is something which any title can do, right? Going from an SDR to an SDR manager to an AE to a sales leader to a VP sales as well. I think anybody can do this. I think this is title agnostic, I would say.
Yeah, I would say it's anybody that has revenue as a KPI in their resume should be doing this. Like if you are an SDR manager, how many reps do you manage? What is their quota? And how much of a bag do you carry? Right? Like if you look at Jason Lemkin from SaaStr, he
Yeah.
always emphasizes on the point that irrespective of how senior you get, like you could be a VP of sales, but you should still carry a bag, which is you might not be doing the lead gen yourself, but you should be responsible for the overall revenue of all the people you actually manage, right? Whether it would
Yeah.
be from SDR level or whether it would be from an account expansion level on the AE side, you have to take credibility that I'm going to improve your overall MOM or YOY revenue by X. That you have to take responsibility for that. If you cannot take responsibility for that, just don't be in sales or marketing. Like that's what I tell to most of the people I interview, which is this is not an easy job because your answers are going to be just in numbers and not in sentences. So go be a designer, go be a developer. I was a developer, I was very happy because I could answer in sentences instead of numbers.
Yep. And so I keep coming back to SDR and AE as a function because I'm really close to it in my day-to-day job. You have been doing outbound. You made this post where you're making this report for different channels, what the CAC is and all of that. What I have seen recently is a lot of my peers working at different companies as well. They've been able to generate responses on LinkedIn, be it a yes or a no, as compared to, more responses on LinkedIn as compared to email. And the LinkedIn content does not differ a lot from the email. Email could be a little more on the formal side. LinkedIn can be a little bit casual with some quirky CTAs or quirky intros based on what they have put in on their profile. And the rest of the 50 words in between the body and the personalization part remains the same. So is that the way you guys also look at LinkedIn versus email, or does your content differ a lot? Or what's the ideal way to do this?
Okay, so one thing you have to understand is why is this happening? Why are responses higher on LinkedIn than it is on email, right? And I'm going to give you a very easy answer. It's cheaper for people to spam on email than it is on LinkedIn. That's the easier answer, which is like, let's say I'm going to acquire 100 domains, right? Google cannot stop me today. I have 100 different cards, I have 100 different domains, I have 100 different inboxes. I can scale vertically or horizontally how much ever I like, and I'm always going to be that playing that cat and mouse game with Google. But with LinkedIn, they have invested subsequent amount of money on, like, very serious amount of money on just like spam prevention and bot prevention. So today you cannot make a fake by any chance, right? And so let's take an email sequencing tool that most people are using. Like, I don't want to name any, but if you take most of these tools that people are using, pay us $99 and you can spam
anybody's inbox,
right? But for LinkedIn, all of the sequencing tools start at $70. So how many accounts can you scale on top of? That is $70 per seat, right? It's not based on the number of outbounds you do. And every LinkedIn account is limited to 100 per week. So every profile can do only 400. And you cannot create fake profiles as well. Like, they ask you for government-backed ID these days if you're doing LinkedIn stuff. So obviously people are going to be more receptive on LinkedIn because the platform does an amazing job of keeping it spam free. And I love that because I love LinkedIn as a community. And I think in an ideal world, everybody should just be doing outbound. It's just that people don't have the time, and that's why they start out with outbound, right? Everybody loves to do inbound, but the amount of time that it took me or Adam to create a personal brand, people do not have that much time because, like, let's say you are a founder, Siddhant, and you raised 700K, and you go to your investors and you say that I'm going to spend 75% of my time doing LinkedIn content. I'm not sure there is any predictability on the number of leads that I will get through this. And like, I'll keep doing this for 7 months. You have 7 months of runway, by the way. Then, like, people will be like, get out of here. This is what Adam also told me, right? The other thing on LinkedIn is, like, email is very linear, right? I think this is the advantage and disadvantage of LinkedIn, which is email is very linear. You do 100 contacts, if you get one lead. You do 200 contacts, you get 2 leads. People want predictability. In LinkedIn, one post will do like 15 leads right off the bat from 2,000 impressions. One post would get 100,000 impressions and no leads because it was just top of the funnel, right? So that is one part of the answer that you were looking for. The second part is, how do you manage the different communication styles between email and LinkedIn? Should we be doing one, or should we be doing either? So initially, what we used to do is we used to scrape all these LinkedIn profiles of the people that we were already reaching out through email, and then seeing when was the last time they posted a comment, because a lot of people don't post that often. But when was the last time they posted a comment? And if they are active in the last 2 weeks, then we send them a LinkedIn request. And LinkedIn does not allow you to actually get into like pitching mode right away, right? You cannot send connection requests on free profiles. You are limited to 10 per month. So, like, if you are looking at 6% conversion rate from cold to LinkedIn connection request accepted, then you're looking at 2% conversion rate from LinkedIn accepted to meeting booked, right? But on email, the volume is like massively different. For every 6,000 emails you're sending, you might be booking 2 meetings. right? So that is the difference. And the second thing is, this is a more instant messaging conversational platform, which is majorly what we are changing is the number of messages and the length of the messages. So in the notification bar, you see the first two lines. In
Yep.
the computer, if you send a longer message, you're going to be seeing the last two lines. So you kind
Yeah.
of need to optimize it to be very, very short, and you can send more messages and more follow-ups than you can do on email, because on email most people are doing three follow-ups and they stop after that.
Got it. Got it. So how is your messaging different? Like when you get a connection request accepted, what's your typical first message to them?
To be very honest, I don't recommend doing outbound that way on LinkedIn. Like I don't do it personally. I do it for some of my clients,
Okay.
and I don't like the concept of like lying to prospects. Right? A lot of these sales reps, they're lying to get a relationship when they don't have an actual interest. To build a relationship with that prospect, and I think it's easier for founders to do this because like they are actually passionate about the people that they're talking to as customers. It's very hard for SDRs to do this. So I would, I would like appreciate if most SDRs are like honest with me and direct, like just ask. I know you're here to pitch. I see your job titles. I know you carry a bag. Let's see if we can help out each other, right? Like if I actually have a genuine need or if your product seems actually interesting, I'm ready to take a demo because that is your KPI. I'm not giving you your money. I'm just giving you a demo. You can go home happy, right? The closer is the
Yeah.
one who's actually suffering. But yeah, I don't like people who do this, this act of like becoming my friend. No, not my friend. I have enough friends. Like
Yeah, you have friends. You do. A guy sitting here in India wants to be friends with someone in the US in Chicago. Not needed.
right? Yeah, especially not on a platform like LinkedIn. Like if it is genuine, I think if you want to build a genuine connection, what you would do is like post good comments on their profile instead of sending a
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
If you just want to do pipeline, then just be direct. Like, hey, we can cut down your ad spend by half. What the call? What the chat? That's all.
So you are okay with SDRs pitch slapping you till the time the pitch is good.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it has to be short. It has to be understandable, right? Like that's the big caveat. I don't want long messages. I don't want you to bullshit me. Just tell me what you do. What is the result? And who else have you done it for? That's it. Like, don't give me all the fluff.
So 70 words. Would you respond to a good 70-word message that
On
contains
email,
all
I
these three
would.
points?
On LinkedIn, I would appreciate more of a 35 or like a 40-word message.
So how do I compress it? Like now, should I do 3 messages?
Yes,
That in the first message.
right. You should spread it out during the day, right?
Okay.
Like, see, one thing that most people don't get about like C-suite people, because like most of these SDRs are selling to managers plus, is
Mm-hmm.
that people are genuinely busy. It's not that they're an asshole. People are genuinely busy. Right after this call, I have 3 calls back to back. So what's going on in my head is when do I do lunch? Right? Like when do I take my
Yeah.
mom out for dinner? That's the thing that's going on in my head. I do not care about your pipeline as much as I want to. I'm unable to empathize on your situation, right? So if you make it attractive and easier for me to respond, I will respond. But when you spread it out through multiple days, there are just some days where I'm not doing anything. Like most people, there is a hack for anyone who is listening. Most CEOs check their emails and LinkedIn on Sundays because they are so addicted to the concept of like just making their startup big. If anyone is under 1,000 employees, C to Series D, they are still checking their emails after Sunday afternoon in their time zone.
Even I am doing that. I
Yeah,
am not a founder. I'm still opening my mobile phone on a Sunday and checking my inbox. Key, what are the updates that are there? Is any new newsletter coming in? I'll keep scrolling LinkedIn endlessly, reading some posts on a Sunday. So if I am that inquisitive, I think a CEO would be for sure. He wants to know what's going on in the market.
the most amount of deals I've closed with bootstrap founders have been on Saturdays and Sundays. That's an
Wow.
actual data point. More than 87 deals are closed on a Saturday, right? And so when I say closed, it doesn't mean it translated into revenue. We might be doing a pilot, we might be doing an engagement, but
Yeah.
it happened on a Saturday or a Sunday, right? And the second thing is some days I just feel lonely because there's so much noise from Monday to Friday, and then Saturday to Sunday there's like most of these people who are doing startups or like till they reach like an enterprise level, they don't have life. these people don't have a social life. The company is their life, right? So
Yeah.
Saturdays and Sundays, you keep dialing. But again, in the US, it might be different because they have a very clear distinction between work and work and the personal space. But I've seen it even in the US, like more than 30 odd people I have spoken to on Saturdays, just this last 6 months.
I think it depends on the region. People sitting in SF would be driving themselves crazy even on a Saturday, Sunday, whereas
Right.
people sitting in like a tier 2 state would not be driving themselves crazy on a Saturday.
Exactly, yeah.
I think East Coast and West Coast in those terms would give you good amounts of responses on a Saturday, Sunday. But the other part, the central part of
Yeah,
US wouldn't
and
be.
also I think you should not over optimize this. Like you should not okay, based on what these guys are saying, let's classify tier 2 and tier 3 states, and then for these guys we'll send it on Sundays, for these guys we'll send it on. Don't do it like that. Just keep
No, please don't do it that way.
yeah, so just keep hitting them as much as possible. Send short, clear messages. Add social proof. That's it. That's what a sale is.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start optimizing some of my messages and calls on a Saturday, Sunday.
Right. Yeah, let's do a test. You have to do a test of 1,000 people. If it works, it works. For your audience, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Right? Move on. But for me, I can tell you, pre-seed, I can tell you test with the data, it works. You try it out. You call me out of this.
Yeah. So, Bharadwaj, see, one thing that I'm noticing is for every data point you're mentioning, you're always speaking in thousands. 1,000 people, 1,000 emails, 1,000. I think not phone calls, but at least LinkedIn profiles, scraping 1,000
Yeah,
people.
phone calls are even more in the US. For every 200 dials, we get one connect. So we have
that's what.
the thousands. Yeah.
By the way, I am getting more than that right now. So yes.
Good for you. Who's your phone data provider? Give them a shout out.
Yeah, it's Salesloft, but I keep on changing the number every month, so I don't get marked as spam. So once like every few days I check if I'm not getting that many connects, I need to change my number. So and then after changing the number, I go and check on Truecaller from 5 other devices, be it my mom, sister, friends, that is it coming as marked as spam or not. Likely a business tag is okay, but because these guys also reuse those numbers, right? They won't throw it away once it has been used by someone. Why would they? So you need to ensure whichever number you are getting is not marked as spam first of all. So that way I'm trying to get in more number of pickups.
Is this
But
in
yeah.
the Indian region? Are you doing this mainly for the Indian region? Because I found out Truecaller was not very relevant in the US prospect.
Oh no, I think then I'm horribly going wrong there, because for US numbers also I'm checking on Truecaller for
Yes,
in
US
India only.
validation of Truecaller was not reliable. In my testing, it was good for Europe, it was good for India. It's very accurate for India.
Yeah, India it's very accurate. Got it. No, maybe I'll have to check. Maybe if some of my
I think
team
you
members
should
go
also
to the
check it
US.
from an iPhone because iPhones have their own separate
Yeah,
network,
yeah.
and it
Yes.
says possibly spam. Yeah.
Yeah. I think and I think a majority of US people do use iPhones, so they refer to that. They refer to that sort of a
Are
warning.
you using that hack? This is again a hack for a lot of these people. So if you text someone that from an iPhone or even from a normal phone that, hey Siddhant, this is BG calling from Inbox Pirates, and you give them a call right after that, instead of displaying the number, it actually displays name.
This is the name.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've heard this one. I've not done it a lot actually. What I did was I had a conversation with a couple of people over a phone call. I sent them a couple of emails, followed up with proper value prop and all, but they didn't respond. So I sent them an iMessage. I sent you an email. We chatted that day. This is what it is titled and all, and then they got back to me on iMessage. So I think you're just limited by your own creativity. Try everything. And I was desperate. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. So I was like, I'm gonna do it, even though it might sound legitimate, not legitimate. If I'm getting a response, it's working. That's it. So I've been able to book a couple of meetings from over there as well. But yeah, again, coming back to the point, you're always talking in thousands. But frankly speaking, when I am sending out emails, I can't send more than 25, 30 emails, good personalized emails with proper research done on a good account in a day. So how are you achieving these 1,000 numbers every day, and what's actually the real cost of scaling outbound?
Got it. So there are a couple of things here. you have to understand what is your stage of the company on whether or not you have to do it at these numbers, right? Like I'm not doing lead gen for companies like VWO. You guys are way bigger than that. You have so many accounts that are already warm, that are already seen your brand, that have come into your website, and you might be building your lead list based on those guys. And
Mhm.
even if you're calling out a cold prospect, they would have probably worked at a different company where a coworker used that specific software. I am
Mhm.
talking about companies that have invested $0 on brand marketing because they don't have the budget for it. Like they don't do
Okay.
demand gen at all. All they do is lead gen, right?
Yeah.
They don't do events. They don't do LinkedIn ads. They don't do display ads. All they want is like, okay, I don't even know this guy, but I'm gonna give him my money, and that's how they sort of things. So if they are thinking like that, as an agency, I can only say that hey, we need to do thousands, and that's where we can get you some results. Now, for some people, I've been horribly wrong, where there is just so much demand. Like there's one company, I couldn't have expected it in 1,000 years that they are generating one meeting consistently for every 200 contacts with cold email. These accounts have not heard of these companies. I'm not going to give out the name of the company, but they're a very good client of mine. They're backed by Titan Ventures. For every 200 contacts,
Wow.
they end up booking like one meeting just on cold email. Don't do any LinkedIn ads, don't do anything. So it's also about a
Wow.
demand problem thing. So for example, if you're a services company that provides like logo design, graphic design, SEO and all this stuff, there are like thousands of companies doing the exact same thing. And for them, they
Yeah.
don't have any other option apart from just like, like spray and pray. Really, that's just what it is, right? And the cost of scaling it up is totally dependent. And this is also why guys like me exist, which is if you have in-house SDRs, their expertise is about like knowing how to close a deal, how to maintain relationships. That is their strong point. These people are not
Yeah.
technical engineers, and they don't have to be, right? It should be your IT team that is setting up hundreds of these domains and scaling it up as much to actually see results. Because if you are not even closing like 3 to 5 customers in any
Hmm.
channel over a quarter, 3 to 5 paying customers over any channel over a quarter, then why are you doing that? Because there's a cost of hiring Siddhant in my team. And if he's doing
Yep.
email and I get one lead from email every month and I'm closing zero paying customers, it's just not worth the money. So you're forced to do volume at that point. And the real cost of that would be about like it depends on what sort of demand that you have. Again, like it's on a product to product basis. If you have the shittiest product that is most saturated in any category, then you need to be sending at least 125k emails, right?
Wow.
Over like I don't know 2-3 months, even more. Like sometimes we do 300k emails for some of these people. We still get them the sales targets that they want, but hey, it's an exhaustive channel, and you need to start investing in brand someday. You just have to start doing that. So the cost for that is somewhere around like it might be $3,000, it might be $5,000. Depends on the data vendors you use. Depends on the industry vertical. It's just a simple formula. How many contacts am I reaching out to versus how many meetings I book? For some people,
Mhm.
250 contacts, one meeting. For some people, 2,500 contacts, one meeting. For some people, and I will not name this company, 40,000 emails, which is more than I think 15,000 contacts, one meeting. And
Wow.
is it still worth it? Well, they got a NASDAQ listed company through that channel. So it pays off for the
Wow.
channel, it pays off for the company's revenue for 2 years. It was still profitable in my head, but maybe not a great channel. But that's the cost. It might be $2,000, it might be $3,000. You cannot do anything under $2,500. If you want to, again, the cost is for 3 months that I'm talking about. So that is the real cost.
Yeah.
But email tools have become cheaper, like way cheaper than they used to. Like there used to be a
Yeah.
time when people only relied on guys like Salesforce, and they're gonna bill you per inbox, and that's when you can't do the work. And then you have guys like Instantly or Smart Lead, and you can rack it up as much as you want. Like spam all you want for $99 a month. So that's the case.
Yep. I think I was also checking out this PDF recently where it contained all the sales tools, sales enablement, recording notes, and I was like, I need a big ass wall to display all of this from a projector, and then see which all tools exist. I think there are more than 1,000 tools out there.
I would give a shout out to Michael from Code IQ. So if you go to codeiq.com/tools, you'll see
Mhm.
all the tools listed in the sales tech space, compared
Yeah,
by cost. So what is the cheapest phone data provider? What is the cheapest phone tool? What is the cheapest email tool? What is the cheapest email data provider? They have listed over like I think 1,500 tools in the sales tech space. It's actually good for the start.
yeah. I've been on that page. Really informative. This Cold IQ does the job of the cuts you down all the time that you would want to put in like a research for new tools and stuff. For sure. But I think Bharadwaj, the way you were telling all this, the cost and all, how you scale it, it still feels like all these SaaS companies that are there, still a majority of them are following the old ways of reaching out, doing outbound, and it's a vicious cycle, it seems. Getting out of that thing that you need to send personalized emails, there should be you should not end up in spam, and then getting responses, getting meeting booked, having a limited set of tools to do all of this. So still a little outdated, because I think the sales outbound space specifically has evolved in the last 2-3 years very rapidly, very rapidly. But if someone does not have any idea, he's not following up with the trend, the whole team gets into this vicious cycle where the deliverability sucks, even the best messages do not get opened, you're not booking meetings, cold calls, you're getting marked as spam. So how do one get out of this vicious cycle that is there? And I think it's with a lot of companies out there.
To be honest, that's why agencies like this exist. Like you would not imagine the amount of times that I would have actually wanted to get out of this agency thing and just do my project. But like there's just so much demand that people keep messaging me, even if I stop posting on LinkedIn, if I don't go to events, if I don't do my outreach, people still reach out. And it's because they don't know the number of activities or like the current market trends that it requires to actually succeed. Because a lot of these founders, like I would not blame the founders, but the thing is they are not coming from a sales background, or even if they are, they're coming from
Exactly.
C
I
level,
think,
not from an executive level, or most
yeah,
probably in India they're coming from an engineering background, right?
proper tech background, tech founders, I think specifically, a lot of them.
Exactly. So they don't know what it actually takes to succeed. And so, for example, there is famously a guy that spoke with me recently, and he thinks the conversion rate on cold emails should be 30%, which is like for every 100 emails you send, you should get 30 replies. And I was like, where do you get that data? And I was like, he goes, I went to this event and I collected a list of all the people I went to school with, and I sent all of them an email. And I was like, and this guy is in HSR. I don't want to name his name, but I'm so tempted to name his name. He's one of the stupidest chief growth officers I've ever met in my life. His name starts with an R. I think if you're listening, you know who you are. But yeah, so it's not like these people don't know what the ground reality is. They're just like they burn all the VC cash, and
Yeah.
then when they're about to crash, like you would not believe the amount of data I can release today from the best VC accelerators, from these companies who project that they're doing very well for their next fundraise. But personally, they come to me and they said, like, I have one close that's pending, and everything else is just a fake deal. I have 2 months of runway. Before that, I need to get my customers.
Wow.
Huge amount of people. Huge amount of
Yep.
people. And I think that's predominantly in the tech side. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's why Google also does not care. They'll lend you out a lot of money, or I think a lot of VCs also, they'll lend you out a lot of money, knowing that you're going to spend it on Google ads and stuff like that, and it is going to come back into the system, increase Google's revenue, share price, and all of the top cream people are happy.
I think
That's
that's
what is essential.
like there is a famous report that Chamath made a while back. Chamath is a very popular VC, by the way. He made this popular report that every 40 cents of VC raised capital goes either to LinkedIn, Amazon, Google, or
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah, that's why they're happy. They're just lending out the money, getting in the equity, and increasing the revenue at the same time. So everybody is happy there.
If you run a SaaS product today, I don't know how many people can actually make a living without Google or LinkedIn or Microsoft. You
Yeah,
know,
I
just
think
Google or Microsoft, I would say. Like without Google or Microsoft boycotting all of these products, can your SaaS even survive?
no, I don't think. Yep. So, Bharat, just coming back to the last thing that we discussed. So, suppose if you are a manager at a company who leads the outbound function, where you have fallen into this vicious cycle, what would be your steps to take to get out of the vicious cycle?
To be honest, I've not been in that position. Like a lot of these times, I've also seen that I have a very bad close rate with sales managers or like people who are department heads as compared to like I'm a founder guy. Like I know how to close deals with CEOs. And
Hmm.
I've never worked as a sales guy at a typical organization. So I think that you might be asking the wrong person. But you have to understand, you have to give these reps, these hungry sales reps, what they actually need in order to succeed. If you're allowing them only to send 20 emails a day, and if you are considering anyone who stumbles upon your website as a hot lead, then you're enabling them only for failure, right? The only way you can succeed is buy them the tools they require to succeed. Hire an agency or hire a consulting firm like mine to give them the actual access to tools and the volumes at which you will succeed. Reiterate the marketing function to get more warm leads. Have a function on LinkedIn where you have a personal brand. That's all it is. Like I don't think there's a
So,
magic
proper
formula.
shake up, a proper shake up, you would say.
Right, like you cannot be this delusional. And I'll tell you the reason they are delusional. Like a lot of these people, they come from, they would have had a services company and then they're starting a software company. And just because of their warm connects or like someone that their VC introduced to them, they're closing a couple of deals here and there. So the money is still in the bank, right? And they can go for the next fundraise. And I know so many people who are like this, where the money is coming from none of the channels that these sales guys are actually doing. The actual money is coming from partners, venture capitalists, and their warm connects of the founder, but they still have a sales team. So useless. But it happens. It happens in so many companies. I would get into so much trouble if I put all of this information out because they cannot do their next fundraise if the VCs actually know their real pipeline and where the pipeline is being sourced from. But this is the truth. Like what you're asking is a very fair question. I don't know the solution to it. I wish VCs were more careful of the founders that they would invest in, whether or not they have a sales background. And founders actually took a look into what is the actual amount of revenue that's being closed by the sales team on a cold level.
Yeah, but I think this is one of the most common potholes that every founder falls into. Do you recall any other common potholes that a lot of people fell into when it comes to sales? I think the background is one where they are sourcing the pipeline from. That is, I think, delusional. So the sales team is literally doing nothing but all the warm intros from their past is getting the revenue and nothing else. What are some other potholes that people fall into?
I made a post yesterday. I think you might have seen it. I get a lot of founders who say that, hey, I just have a lead problem. I don't have a closing problem. And I ask them, how many people have you closed? They say, well, I've closed my wife's sister's friend, I've closed my angel investor, and I've closed my classmate. That's how it is. Like people are so delusional on what it's like to close certain deals because I think you should not have math on anyone you know when it comes to sales. If Siddhant is closing me, I don't think it's an actual sale because Siddhant already has a relationship with me. And I think founders should also look at their pipeline like that. Like, am I closing this deal because he likes my product? Or like is he trying to throw me a bone because he likes me and we went to school together? People don't think
Yeah.
about that. And I don't think another pothole that I see is what is the net revenue retention? Let me give you an interesting fact, Siddhant. Most people do not pay attention to this. In the past year, there is a very good newsletter called SAS.wtf, right?
Yeah.
And it's handled by a very good guy. There is also something called the Maritime SaaS Index that tracks all the public SaaS companies.
Okay.
More than 90% of the pipeline on average for all these big companies, I think 70% or 90%, I'm not sure of the actual numbers, but you can go and check out these numbers. More than 70% of the pipeline, or like, forget my words, more than 70% of revenue that's being added onto public companies comes from account expansion revenue, which is they are selling either more seats to an existing
Hmm.
product that they've sold to, or like they're selling other sister products to the same customer. They are not adding new
Okay.
logo. You can actually put ChatGPT into this. Like salespeople really need to learn how to run. Salespeople really need to know how to read and write financial reports. That's when they become good
Hmm.
sales. Like I didn't know how to write or read a good P&L report. If you look at the
Okay.
P&L of every single company out there, like Snowflake spends more than $2,000 to acquire a paying customer. Right? Like, do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know the numbers on the top of your head? Founders should know that. Sales reps should know that. How much am I spending? What is my CAC to LTV? How much am I spending per meeting? How much am I spending per customer? I've closed, right? So
Hmm.
coming back to my main point, these people need to understand that if you have an AE how or a CSM, how much of the account expansion revenue is coming from these guys rather than just chasing new logos because they don't have anything else to sell to the guy. But the truth is, most of software companies make more money selling to existing customers that they have instead of
Hmm.
selling to new customers. New customers are
Hmm.
always going to be costly for you to acquire. Let's say you have an offering today of $2,000, you have another product that's $2,000. If you go ahead and try to sell the other product to an existing customer base, you're spending ₹0 on like
Yeah.
all these different tools, right? You can just call
Yep.
them up. In your personal cell, you'll not be marked as spam. Or do a newsletter and just pitch it there. Even if you
Yeah.
close one, you have doubled the NRR of that specific
Yep.
customer, right?
Yep. Makes
You
sense.
want to just chase new logos, and it's not even working out for NASDAQ listed companies. So I don't know about these companies that are not spending any money on branding or like demand gen. People hate spending for demand gen. They hate LinkedIn. It's costly, but it works. You don't see a direct conversion. You see that less than 0.3% of people looking at your LinkedIn ad and going to your website. But in reality, 3 months later, when you do an outbound campaign, more of the people are converting. Double the leads are converting because they've seen your ad somewhere else. People don't
Yep.
understand. They don't have the money for it. They want instant revenue. I think they should not get into SaaS, to be honest. Like if you are coming from, okay, I pay ₹6 today, I make ₹10 today, you should go start, like a chai shop. Don't start a SaaS. It's a very long term game.
Yeah, yeah. SaaS, I think, takes a lot of time to scale, and even after a lot of time, how things have evolved, especially in sales in the last 2 3 years, that constant adaptability needs to be there. Plus, the way you have been speaking about it, a lot of other sales leaders, the way sales is evolving. How do you see it evolving in the next 2 3 years? Do you think the SDR function will grow into more importance? Do you think LinkedIn will grow into more importance? Do you think cold emails, like the way these tools are enabling you to spam 100,000 emails a month, emails are going to diminish? Or the buyers have so much information, they're just going to be fed up with all the tools that exist and just stop looking at things? So what do you think could happen?
I wish I knew. Like 1 year ago, I just thought email was dead, right? Like everybody was moving for it. Google was pushing a new spam update. And I convinced myself that LinkedIn was the future. But now I've launched some campaigns. August has been the best month. We're generating like 10 meetings for every 1,000 contacts we reach. I think that's great conversion. I think it's the same channel. So I don't think email is going to die. But I've been terribly wrong about that prediction and I went all in on LinkedIn, which was a mistake that I made. Right? One thing I can say for sure is traditionally how you used to sell things is not how people are going to buy it. People have been screaming this for a long time, but what I mean by that is traditionally how it would happen is your SDR sends a message, they look at SDR as a silo and then they reply with him for a meeting. You take him to a meeting and then you close it. That is
Yep.
dead. That model is dead. People want to see case studies, people want to see results, people want to see all these different things before they actually hop onto the meeting. And that affects even agencies like me because like I have so many founders that say that, hey, your KPI is just the meeting. So don't show these positive replies or like requests for proposals as leads. I'm like, if you think a request for proposal or a request for quote is not a sales qualified lead, you're the most delusional person I know. Because like these people want all the information because they want to actually make a purchase. They're doing it for 10
Yeah,
months. Basically, that's a deal lost. But according
I
to him,
think.
It's not a meeting, so it's
It
crazy.
is more than a demo. I think demo is would rank in lower as compared to a request for proposal, I would say.
Right? Yeah, it's much lower, but people don't get that. That's what my point is. People need to understand that people are more likely going to be visiting your website, visiting your LinkedIn, asking other people. It is so crazy to me. I sent a cold email after the Adam Robinson webinar. Someone from my second degree circle, who was also an angel, replied that he had seen the webinar somewhere and he asked Adam about our performance and reached out to us back on email. I had never had that before, but like it's a testament to how B2B buyers are working out, because he could have easily responded to me. But he took the long route of going into my LinkedIn, getting into the loophole of seeing all my webinars, asking Adam about me instead of replying to my email. I'll give you a very good
Yeah.
other example. Like there was a follow up that I forget his name, but he's a SDR from Factors. He shared this screenshot on Sales 101. He had a CTA that said that, would you like to talk to any of our customers?
Yeah.
He worked at Factors again, and that guy was like, yeah, let's please set up a meeting with one of your customers. And it's crazy because they would rather talk to your customer than talking to a sales rep. So it's like people don't want to get to meeting. That is very clear to me. But traditionally, how other people look at it is like, I don't care. You didn't bring them to a meeting, so they are not a lead. No, it's like they are a lead. They are interested. That's
They're
why
more than a lead now.
they are spending 1 hour watching and reviewing your case studies and videos. They are in the market, but
Yep.
your case studies are not convincing enough. People don't realize that. People don't
Yeah,
realize
they are
that.
more than a lead. For sure, they are more than a lead.
More than lucky, yes. I don't think people just like, I don't think normally I just wake up. You know what would be a good thing today? Let's ask for a request for proposal from Siddhant. That would be a good thing to do. I don't think anybody does that. They spend their time to just go ahead and ask for these things. Someone says, I want to see your case study. That is a lead that is actually interested. People don't get that. They think only if they come to the meeting they are serious. No. I've closed more deals on text than I've closed from a video call, because like in text you can say that this is how much you're paying, this is what you're going to get in return, and you have all this social proof. Boom, it's an instant conversion because they can
Yep.
do the math. On video call they can't lie. They have to be nice to you in person. It's very hard.
Yep. 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 No, so summing up. So what I can see is buyers who are there in the market. They don't want to talk to salespeople anymore,
Agreed. I think that's
right?
a very. I mean, Gartner published this report that 75. It has jumped from 52% to 75% now that don't want to talk to a sales rep, and we are seeing it. We are seeing it very clearly with interactive demos from companies like Storylane. We are seeing it very clearly from, there's this company called Demo.ai that allows you to see all the products without signing up for a sales email, or like even
Yeah.
signing up for a product. People are doing that. They don't want to get into a sales funnel. They want to see what's inside your product. They want to know the pricing upfront, and then if they're convinced, it's an easy conversion. So that is completely changing. People are not ready to accept it.
Guys, once again, websites for the win. Your website needs to have all of this.
Right?
No, I
VWO.
think no, I think the way SDRs would now behave would be very different in a couple of years, like 75%. And the numbers are just going to add up. Even if it is 75% of maybe 100,000 buyers right now, going down the line, it will be 90% of a million buyers, suppose. Right? So the numbers are just going to add up over a period of time. So I think it's going to evolve a lot, where SDRs are not, trying to get in a meeting, but just enable the uh, buyer to see what's up for them, what's in store, give a quick peek. Because I think when I'm also in the market, I know what exactly am I looking for. And if I find it somewhere, I'll make sure I note it down, I keep it, I save it for myself, that whenever I'm looking, even I'm planning a vacation right now. Okay, so from a point of view of looking at different places, I'll see what's the vibe, what's the price, uh, do they charge a cover entry, and all of that, and just I'll save it for me myself. So when I'm finalizing my itinerary, I'll go look at my Google Maps history and my Easy Diner history and all these history of what all tools I've saved, and then make a conscious decision, maybe call them up and understand. So I think similarly it would be the case for SaaS tools also. They'll save you, they'll know which content was making the most impact. Does the tool match your vibe? It has a checklist, and then only they'll come in for the demo. Yep, quite interesting. Now, one last thing, what would be your ideal funnel for any B2B lead that you get? Like the best case scenario that could exist.
But so they give me a positive reply asking me for case studies, a positive reply or any sort of a signal, right? So on an MQL level, the signal I'm looking for is they come to the website, or they view my LinkedIn profile or any of my sales steps LinkedIn profile, or
Okay.
they come to a webinar. On an MQL level, that's what I'm looking for, or they engage with the sales post. Right? On an SQL
Okay.
level, the signal that they're going to give me is they're going to send me a message on LinkedIn, they're going to call me up, they're going to be coming to my website and booking a meeting, they're going to be filling out a form, right? That's the signal that I get from them. As soon as that happens, how do I make them ready on an email level or like at a LinkedIn level is before the call, you need to send relevant information that is easy to skim. So, for example, I have more than
Okay.
50 case studies now, but you need to be able to pick out what is going to be more relevant to this guy and what is the stage that he
Yeah.
is in that
Yeah, I think
is going to be relevant to them. Send that so that you can nurture them a couple of times before they come on the call. Because people sometimes they book a call just out of excitement, but then they know nothing about you. So you're gonna be like within that 1 hour, it's very hard to build that establishment of trust
Yeah.
based on like one booking. So kind of nurture them on an email level, on a WhatsApp level. That's the second part of the funnel. Third part of the funnel is I am sending proper reminders, like making it official that hey, you sort of micro committed to this meeting, and here's what to expect. You know, like I've sent
Yep.
you an email about this. We're gonna have a call tomorrow. If this time doesn't work for you, let's reschedule. Give them a call, LinkedIn message, WhatsApp message, SMS, whatever works for that specific market. Right? When they show up on the call, stop trying to like on the first call. I always say like don't do decks, don't do presentations. See,
Yep.
like you are going to come off as very desperate if you try to sell on the first call. Like just say that these are the type of like I'm very strict that way. It's like these are the type of companies I can help you. If you match that, good, we can work out together.
Exactly.
If you don't match
Exactly.
that, I can put you in touch with someone who does. Right? So
Mhm.
and that has allowed me to sleep better at night. Siddhant, there have been days that I would have just spent just taking the wrong set of meetings again and again and again, working with clients who constantly churn. I'm not ready to do that. Like people who don't have a $5,000, 10,000 budget, like just don't come to me. I cannot help you. Like even before the meeting, if you go to my scheduling page and tell them that hey, if you give me $10,000, I can probably make you 100K. But if you are not enabled to do that, I cannot help you because this is the type of companies I've worked with in the past. This is my strong suit. I'm not desperate for money. People, like sales reps, when they start doing this, they'll actually attract more customers because you seem more genuine. Like people can spell commission breath, right? I know it's very hard, like, but see on a very psychological and philosophical level, you will attract more customers the more you are rejecting these customers. Like if someone says this is too costly for us, tell them that this is our qualifying filter to work with the right set of companies. And you will be amazed on how many people actually come back to you. This is not a cheap sales tactic. It is just that
Yep.
you are setting,
It's a classy thing. It's a classy
yeah,
thing
so
to do.
you are setting self-esteem and you are setting standards for yourself, higher standards for
Yep.
yourself. Because you know, you if you take the wrong set of customers to your product or your service, they're gonna fail, right?
Hmm.
And the second thing would be so okay, what do you do after the meeting? Send the after call summary in terms of like action points as soon as possible. So recently I've been
For
playing
sure.
around with Fathom. Fathom has been really cool. It has unlimited meetings. You can highlight certain points. Send it as soon as
Okay.
possible. Whatever messages that they're looking for, if they're looking for trust, could you put them in touch with the current customer if it's a product? Could you put them in touch with the current client if it's a product? Could you
Okay.
send more testimonials? And like, are you not wasting time on the wrong customers? Like, just ask them upfront on the call that this is going to be the cost. I looked at your employee size; it is currently at 10. So you probably make $1 million a month. This is going to be $10,000 a month. Is that an investment you're ready to make, because if you invest this $10,000, it's going to become $20,000 over the next 6 months with this specific website conversion tool, with this specific lead
Yep.
generation program, right? Ask them during the call. Don't be shy to say the price up front. The more you say the price up front, the more qualified customers you're going to get, right?
Yep.
So you do that, and then you still need to keep following up, because people are genuinely busy, especially people who can afford
Yeah.
your solutions. You need to keep following up. So follow-ups cannot just be like, "Hey, did you check my proposal? Hey, Siddharth, did you check?"
No, big red flag.
Of course he did, right? So, but what can you share upfront? So, like, we have like 50 different touch points. Like, okay, I'm shooting this webinar with Siddharth. Here are all the things that mistakes that founders make. Send that as a video. Invite them to the webinar. Invite them to the newsletter so that they can be in touch.
Okay.
Ask
Yeah,
them,
correct.
do you have any other reference who would be more relevant for this? Because you might have gotten this player on a cold contact, but his friend might trust his words, so you can actually close that deal.
Yeah, yeah. I think everybody is always in touch with people from their profession, and there are always people who are looking out for good solutions. So referral could be like the channel where you are spending nothing, literally nothing, just asking and getting like a good qualified lead.
Right. So that's one part of the funnel. And if they end up like signing the proposal, don't be that guy who just sells something and runs away. Like, actually follow up with them. If they have problems with the product, if you lied on the sales call saying that we have this product facility, but your sales team, tech team cannot actually build that, confront them, ask them if it's still okay. Be the
Okay.
first point of contact when they need something. And like collect the review if they when they're happy, like collecting the review when they're the happiest. All these things make a difference. So that is my perfect funnel. Positive. How do I take them from website visit or like webinar attendee to like a meeting or a positive reply or a message? And then how do I move that meeting to an established source of trust? And then after that, how do I define trust again by introducing them to my past customers and the results they can sort of expect? And then how do I move that by asking them for more customers from their end? That's how you scale it. That's my problem.
Got it. Yeah, I think a shout out to my AE over here. However long the first call is 30-45 minutes, he'll never show a presentation. Just one single screen or at max two screens if they ask for it. And all 30 to 40 minutes, he's just trying to have a conversation with them to understand, do they have the maturity to, and the mental state to invest in something like A/B testing and conversion optimization. So a big shout out to there for Maulik. Awesome. I think this been a great session. I think not just covered SDRing, but if you are into early stage, if you are an SDR looking to move into an early stage company, what all things you should take care of? How do you identify the channels that are working for you? There are multiple channels based on the amount of intent the person shows, and I think apart from that, how the deliverability. I think now even the tracking even the one by one pixel tracking has taken up a hit. It has a pop-up report spam. So I think that's also. Do you think that is also going to die down? The open tracking.
Yeah. So we never tracked open in the first place. So we don't recommend you do it. So don't send open. Don't track opens. Don't send links. Don't send images. This doesn't work. Better to do plain text.
Yeah, just plain text without tracking.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, we covered that as well now. The latest development for SDRs, outbound function, how to scale it, LinkedIn, email, which all channels work the best. So all in all, I think it's been like a wide spectrum that we covered. I would love to have you on a episode 2 as well later down the line. But yeah, thanks a lot, Bharadwaj, for your time. And I hope if you have stayed here till the end of this video, I'm sure you would have gotten some value from it. So like it, share it with your peers, and let us know in the comment section which was the most interesting part and what would you like to cover in the next episode.
Sure.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you.